are we going to do the other one? Is the best stretches for the hidden cause of your back pain. Our goal is to help you eliminate your back pain, and there is a hidden cause, and we're going to talk about the hidden cause, and you'll be surprised about the hidden cause, because most people are. We are the Illinois Back Institute. Our goal is to make your life better. Tight calves very often are the hidden cause of back pain. If your calves are too tight, you're more prone to having back pain. And it has a lot to do with the way your center of gravity shifts when you have tight calves. But calves are important for the ankles, but really they're very important for walking. And one of the things that we talked a little bit about yesterday was really having the best possible posture. And certainly calves fit into why sometimes posture is not good. So we're going to talk about how to stretch the calves, but first what we'll talk about is why tight calves will cause back pain. Typical spine looks like this. The head's here, the hips here, 24 vertebrae in between each vertebrae there is a disc. Now, what happens with your calf muscles, which are the muscles right here, most people know that. When the calf muscles are tight, what it does is it causes your center of gravity to go forward just a little bit. And when your center of gravity goes forward just a little bit, what happens is you then have to activate and use these muscles in the back of your spine to get you up straighter. And in this position where your muscles are working very hard, the muscles start to fatigue. And the muscle fatigue in the overarching of your spine starts to cause back pain. So if we eliminate the tight hamstrings, very often what we can do is we can get your center of gravity more into a neutral position. And a lot of this is everything that we talk about really is putting your spine in neutral position. So tight calves doesn't really allow you to be in neutral. So our goal is to stretch the calves, thereby taking the pressure off the muscles and getting these muscles so they're not working so hard to keep you upright. You can be upright normally in what we call neutral position. So the goal is to take the pressure off the disc. Now, why is this important? So there's a couple of different reasons you have back pain. One of them is we'll just call it tight calves. But another is when you have a breakdown of the annulus. The disc is like a jelly donut. The outer portion of the disc is the annulus. The inner portion, there's a jelly. But what happens is sometimes the annulus tears. And that tearing of the annulus can be very painful. So if you have a posture that is not in neutral position, you're going to overload the disc and you're always going to have pain. But some people, their discs are completely fine. So if you stretch your calves, very often you can eliminate your back pain so it doesn't go away. Now, again, this is not a diagnosis, nor is this a treatment. If you have a pain that's not going away, you need to see a doctor. So here's Dr. Amy. She's our physical therapist. There's two ways, and we're going to talk about both ways to stretch your calves. There's two very good ways. She's going to show you up against a wall, and what she's going to do is she's going to lean up against the wall, and she's going to have one foot in front and one foot in back. Now, the foot in the back is the foot that we are trying to stretch the calf. So you have to keep this foot straight, pointed directly at the wall, and then you lean forward, and what we're doing now is we're stretching the calf. And this stretching of the calf it's very important that you have the foot back far enough so you stretch the calf, but also you have to keep an eye on what she's doing here with her spine. You want to make sure you're not leaning forward or you're not arching your back too much. The key is really to make sure your spine is straight. So you're going to do this stretch, do it both legs, and you're going to do it maybe 10 times each leg, and you're going to hold it for 5 seconds and then you're going to relax. So she's going to switch legs and you're going to do the same thing here. So stretching this calf, make sure you maintain a good posture here. Super important. Make sure this foot is pointed to the wall. When your calves are real tight, what you have a tendency to turn the feet out. When the feet are turning out, you're not stretching the calf. So you need to make sure that foot is pointed directly at the wall. So that's the calf stretch, leaning up against the wall. Very important. And some people, this is all they need is this calf stretch because that really takes the pressure off the joints. If you have a disc problem, the calf stretch is going to take the pressure off the disc, but it doesn't necessarily heal the disc problem, which is another kind of problem. But there's another thing we do. So that was the upright standing, and we also used the foam roll. And the whole idea behind the foam roll is to sort of loosen up the fascia, get the blood to flow, increase the flexibility, increase range of motion. And there are two types. I don't have the other one. I forgot it. There are two types of foam rolls. One foam roll is just flat. Is it there? One foam roll is flat, but somebody asked me this the other day. They said, is the foam roll with the dimples on it, is this any good? Now, the one thing about the dimples, because this is sort of a rough edge, is it's painful. So I would say if you're going to do the foam roll, you have to start with a foam roll like this. It's hard, but it's not gonna be as painful as these dimples on here, because the dimples really work the muscles, and it can be a little bit painful after a while. So we talked about the stand up. This is the foam roll. The goal really is to work the fascia around the muscles. The fascia sometimes gets all caught up. You don't get the proper flow of oxygen and nutrients and or the blood to flow. But this is what it looks like. So you're going to sort of be in a semi-seated position. Again, you have to make sure you maintain good posture. Everything we do is about maintaining good posture. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll back and forth on the calf. So here's the foot. You're going to roll back and forth on the calf just like this. Okay, so you start down by the ankle and you work your way up to the knee. That's not necessarily finished. She goes back and forth. Okay, so that's the key to the foam roll. You're going to roll it back and forth just like that. Again, if you have a disc problem and you're not getting better, the calf stretch is going to help, but it's not going to solve your problem. One of the things we talked about yesterday is you have to learn our technique for stability. Okay, it's an integrated stabilization activity. It's about getting your posture into the best position. You have to train that every single day. So if you haven't seen that video, I want you to see that video. Take a look at it. We'll put a link in the above and below. Also, if you have any questions or comments, I want to hear your questions and comments, because we want to answer all your questions. People sometimes are looking for the magic stretch. Okay, the calf stretch is a very good stretch. Sometimes people have no idea that the calf muscle can actually cause back pain, so it tends to be the hidden cause. But really, you have to do the stretches and the tips, and you have to do it with the fundamentals, which is what we talked yesterday, which is about getting your posture into the best position and maintaining it, and then activating your muscles in your stomach for sort of the bracing, what we call abdominal bracing. So, if you liked what you hear today, I want you to share this information. If you have friends or family that have back pain,